This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The government is scrapping plans for a proposed RCUT at the site of a deadly bus crash near Carberry. The province says it's heard the pushback on the controversial plan and will not move forward with it. CBC's Mike Arsenault has more.
What you're holding in your hand there is the voices of over 2,100 people who do not agree with you.
It was the subject of a heated debate last month, a plan to redesign the Trans-Canada Highway and Highway 5 intersection near Carberry. The government proposed an RCUT design, and residents made it clear that's not what they wanted. Today, Premier Wab Kinew confirmed the RCUT will not go forward. Mayor of Carberry, Ray Muirhead, was happy with the decision.
But by them removing it from the table and going back to the drawing board, I just think that that's the government listening to us, and hopefully they'll come up with a better solution.
The intersection is about 2 hours west of Winnipeg. It was the site of a deadly crash in June 2023 where a bus collided with a semi, killing 17 seniors and leaving others with serious injuries. Muirhead believes the RCUT would have been a dangerous option.
And there's a high volume of traffic, at different times of the year. I think people really need to come out and witness that high volume of traffic and just see what we're up against.
Jordan Dixon lives near the intersection. This past May, she helped organize a protest opposing the RCUT. At a public hearing in June, she presented a petition to the engineers.
So positive today to hear that they actually listened to us and took our opinion seriously and took the voices of 2,100 residents from this area and surrounding areas seriously.
The Premier says the RCUT design was a safe option, but the community told them it's not the right fit. Now they're working on a new approach that prioritizes safety and meets local needs. This will include consultation with the community. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
2 student pilots who died in a mid-air collision south of Steinbach yesterday have now been identified. 20-year-old Savannah May Royce was a Canadian citizen. In a statement to CBC, her family described her as the essence of pure joy to everyone she met. They say she'd always dreamed of becoming a pilot and was following in her father's footsteps. The other pilot is Srihari Sukesh, an international student from India. The Consulate General of India in Toronto says it's in contact with his family. The crash remains under investigation. Sand mining company Silica is offering up to $20 million a year to Broken Head Ojibwe Nation. The money would flow if the company can convince the province to approve a new version of a previously rejected plan to extract sand from below the surface of southeastern Manitoba. CBC's Bartley Kivas reports.
We are on traditional lands of the Broken Head Ojibwe Nation.
In a meeting room at a Transcona hotel, the CEO of Alberta mining company Silica is selling members of Broken Head Ojibwe Nation on the benefits of its plan to drill thousands of wells across southeastern Manitoba to extract millions of tons of high-grade silica sand. This critical mineral is sought after for the production of solar panels, superconductors, and some types of batteries. But Manitoba's NDP government rejected Silica's request for an environmental license to extract this sand, citing uncertainty about the effects on water quality and potential cave-ins underground. Now, Silica plans to submit a new application for an environmental license with a plan to drill fewer wells at first and potentially enlisting Broken Head support. At the meeting on Monday, Silica officials offered Broken Head 5% of the profits if the mining goes ahead, stating that would work out to $20 million a year when the project operates at full capacity. Silica's president wouldn't say whether a formal partnership with Broken Head is on the table. She said Broken Head's being consulted because it's the closest First Nation to the land it intends to mine.
We believe First Nations need to be at the table before approval, not after. And if we're serious about true reconciliation, then it's about partnership.
The chief of Broken Head Ojibwe Nation also wouldn't confirm discussions about a partnership. In a statement, Chief Gordon Blue Sky said, "We feel it's important that our members have an understanding of the full scope of any project being proposed in our territory, including the potential impacts and benefits." Some Broken Head residents are skeptical, noting Silica didn't consult with First Nations before the company filed its first application.
They're just trying to dot their I's and cross their T's to make everything look like they're following through on consultation, engagement, and all these different things with the nearest First Nation.
Silica plans to submit its new application for an environmental license before the end of this year. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, in the arm of Springfield.
Family members faced a now 18-year-old in court who's admitted to violently assaulting and killing 3 people in Point Douglas when he was 15. He's one of 2 teenagers who've pleaded guilty in what court has heard was a sadistic killing spree 3 years ago. As CBC's Josh Crabb reports, prosecutors want them both sentenced as adults.
The siblings of 36-year-old Danielle Ballantyne looked at one of her killers as the now 18-year-old sat in a prisoner's box in a Winnipeg courtroom. He was mainly holding his head down as Bobby and Christy Ballantyne gave powerful victim impact statements about their older sister. They remembered her as a strong, fierce, and kind woman. She was murdered in what court has heard was a sadistic killing spree in the Point Douglas area 3 years ago that took the lives of 3 vulnerable people. Prosecutors want the 2 teens who've pleaded guilty, who were 15 at the time of the homicides, sentenced as adults.
My sister Danielle was a very protective person who took care of those on the streets as well as in our family. She was very protective. She'd give anything to anybody that was in need.
Ballantyne was attacked and left for dead in the early morning hours of August 22, 2022. 54-year-old Marvin Felix, an amputee with one leg who used a wheelchair, was also attacked and died. His sister, Marva George, said in a victim impact statement, "How could they hurt someone in a wheelchair?" She said Marvin loved making fires and fry bread. His bread used to go fast because people loved it. I still hear his voice. 51-year-old Troy Bagley was the 3rd person killed. People who supported him were devastated by his death. Clinical caseworker Megan Turco told court he was also a hurt young man who lashed out and caused pain to others, but found healing and reclaimed his life. I wish the offenders the same journey. Prosecutors argued the maximum youth sentence of 7 years would be woefully inadequate for the now 18-year-old. The Crown told court this level of violence and heinous crime cries out for an adult sentence, which would be an automatic life sentence, which they say should come with no chance of parole for at least 7 years. The Crown told court this sentence would provide more supervision to protect the public and more support for the teen offender if or when he is released from custody. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
2 men have been charged with trafficking cocaine outside hotels near Winnipeg's airport. The police say they were targeting places housing evacuees. CBC's Felicia Adam has more.
This is where Jonathan Kichakisik will stay until he's able to return home. He's one of many forced to evacuate from Tataswiak, Cree Nation.
I'm here alone. My girlfriend's in Thompson, and I haven't seen her for 5 weeks. I really miss her.
He says emotions like this can make evacuees vulnerable to drug dealers.
The feeling of guilt, loneliness, and being lost. Felt lost, and I can't do nothing to help out my community.
Winnipeg police made the arrest after officers saw drug deals near this evacuation site. They say they found cash, cocaine, and a cell phone used for selling drugs.
They've been taking advantage of our people selling drugs, alcohol, and penicillin, meth, and it's gone really bad.
Inspector Max Waddell says police have stepped up their presence around evacuation centers.
It's just very disheartening that people who have to evacuate from their own communities under a very stressful situation. If it is a very vulnerable person and this is their first time, we all know anyone that takes methamphetamine can be potentially hooked for life on that drug.
MKO Grand Chief Garrison Settee said in a statement, "Our people have already endured the unimaginable hardship and stress of fleeing their homes due to wildfires. To have others prey on them during this vulnerable time is completely unacceptable." An 18-year-old and a 21-year-old face a number of drug-related charges, including trafficking cocaine. Felicia Adam, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, a big warm welcome back to Riley, who had a few days off. A rainy start to the week, but boy, oh boy, is that sunshine and heat back.
Yeah, and back in increasing numbers as we get toward the end of the week, Brittany. A bit of a colorful map to show you tonight. Air quality statements in place from the southern Interlake right up to the Hudson Bay coast and the border with Nunavut. Severe thunderstorm watch now in place for the Pas and Flin Flon. We've got an air quality warning as a result of wildfires, that is, burning around Thompson, and a heat warning into northwestern Ontario. So high pressure has really cleared us out. Sunshine today. It's allowed those temperatures to climb throughout the day today, up to 29 degrees in Winnipeg this afternoon, but some 32s and 33s on the map for the Pas and Swan River. Looking a little bit further west, 35 in Regina this afternoon and even a 38 in southern Saskatchewan. Some of that heat pushing eastward as we get into the day on Thursday. So mostly clear tonight, 17 degrees, waking up to 22, and a good risk we could see some thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon tomorrow, Brittany. Hot and humid. The details on that coming up.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Losing, delaying, and mishandling medical files. The accusations against one Winnipeg doctor and what her former patients and colleagues have to say after the break. A doctor is being accused of mismanaging patient care at one Winnipeg clinic. Now the medical regulatory body is involved. Felicia Adams spoke with former and current patients left dealing with the consequences of the doctor's actions.
A Winnipeg family doctor is being accused of mismanaging and losing medical files. Former and current patients and staff say delays in accessing proper care caused financial and emotional distress.
All the things I can't do.
Linda Gies lives with cancer and multiple sclerosis. Unable to work, she gets her income from CPP and private insurance disability payments. She also receives a disability tax credit from the federal government.
Like, see here, I had to put what it affects.
Something she had to reapply for this past tax season.
I filled out my portion and did that all. And it's got, like, some of the stuff isn't, like, it's not needed to be, there's nothing to fill out. So you got a page you got to fill out, 2 pages, and then the rest goes to the doctor.
Her family doctor, Christina Winogradska, had to complete the remaining parts of the form.
Being her patient for so long, she knows my history. And that's why it's so important for her to fill these papers out.
After multiple phone calls and countless reminders, Dr. Winogradska finally filled out the form almost 2 months later. But Gies says by then it was already too late. She fears she may not get the tax credit this year.
It doesn't mean much to some people, but that bonus helps for bills. And other things, groceries, food on the table for my family.
CBC spoke to 11 former and current patients and staff at Birchwood Medical Clinic. The patients of Dr. Winogradska say they faced delays in accessing medical records and medical results, and staff were left to explain why.
Many things I just want to put behind me.
90-year-old Helena Frazen owes more than $6,000 in medical bills. While in the U.S. in 2023, Helena and her husband were hospitalized. Both had COVID. Her husband was airlifted home but died. To cover the U.S. hospital bills, their private insurance wanted additional medical records from their family doctor.
I said, please send the records. And my next appointment, I asked her, and she had not sent them. And I phoned the receptionist, and I asked her, I said, has she sent my records over to the insurance company? No.
A year later, the insurance company said they weren't able to pay the bill because despite numerous requests, Dr. Winogradska did not provide the necessary medical records. Now, more than 2 years later, Frazen says those documents have still not been sent.
I don't know what else to do. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in the same boat as I am. What are we going to do?
Christine Edwards worked at Birchwood Medical Clinic as the office manager for 6 years.
People were getting hurt. People were getting upset. People were coming to the desk and complaining and yelling and crying because their things were not done and they're worried about their health.
She described the clinic as cluttered and disorganized, where patient files would often be misplaced.
They were piled so high you couldn't find them. We would have avalanches and we would have patient charts all over the floor because too many were stacked too high.
Photos sent to CBC show exam rooms filled with patient charts, stacked on top of each other, some piled on the floor, others piled on desks. In supply closets, drug samples, medical pans, and broken furniture were left in disarray. You can see in this photo medical supplies above the sink, and around the sink, a coffee cup, hand creams, and empty drink bottles.
If it goes missing, all the records of that patient are essentially gone. If they're waiting for results on something dire and that can't be found, then we have to scramble around and try to find another copy of everything they're looking for.
Both Edwards and Frazen have filed complaints about Dr. Winogradska to the College of Physicians and Surgeons. In a statement to CBC, the college says they are aware of concerns and are engaged with the clinic.
CBC left multiple text, phone, and email requests to Dr. Winogradska about the allegations. When we did manage to reach her, she said she did not want to comment. Felicia Adams, CBC News, Winnipeg.
One person has died after an SUV rollover in a Winnipeg parking garage. The incident happened Tuesday night just off Sterling Lyon Parkway. Police say the driver and passenger were both in their 80s. The male driver was rushed to hospital in critical condition but didn't survive. The woman did. A Winnipeg organization that supports vulnerable women and gender diverse people is shutting down their outreach program. The West Central Women's Resource Centre says July 13th will be its last day on the road. It says the province did not renew its funding. Earlier this year, the province announced that all outreach services would be funded through the City of Winnipeg as part of Manitoba's Your Way Home homelessness strategy. It was also announced that only Main Street Project has been selected to provide 24/7 outreach services. The centre says it's worried and says current demand for outreach services goes beyond a single provider. It was another hot day outside today, and a lot of people going to be looking to you, Riley, wanting to know what they need to pack for Folk Fest this weekend.
Well, as always, take the umbrella with you.
It's
Always
either raining or boiling hot.
Yeah. And in this case, we get a weekend with both of that in there over the next several days. So we'll start with the Folk Fest forecast. If you're heading out there, if you're lining up to get in tomorrow, boy, I hope you have some water with you, because we are looking at a hot and humid one tomorrow. 32 degrees in Winnipeg, feeling into the 40s with the humidity, and there's that risk of an evening thunderstorm. I mean, really hard to forecast where exactly we'll see some of these thunderstorms developing, but know that as we get into the afternoon and the evening hours, there is that risk of thunderstorms. Hazy on Friday, maybe a couple of sprinkles first thing in the morning, and then we have a slight chance of some thunderstorms as we get into the weekend again. But you'll notice once we get into the weekend, temperatures much more seasonal at 25s and 26s before we get back up into the 29-degree territory on Sunday. So prepare for everything as we get into the next few days here. That's because, first off, an area of low pressure over the territories, a bit of a trough that's been going along with that, could spark up some thunderstorms as we get overnight into the morning hours through northeastern Manitoba. Maybe a bit of extra cloud cover into the south, in particular southeastern Manitoba. But other than that, that's not much to worry about. But as we get later on Thursday, you'll see this cold front that starts to push through. And what this does is really enhance our risk of some severe weather as we get into the afternoon, combined with the heat, the humidity, and some colder air to the north with some of that very hot, humid air to the south. Good recipe that we could see some thunderstorm development as we get into the afternoon and the evening hours tomorrow. Like I said, really hard to predict where exactly we'll see some of this forming, but really southeastern Manitoba is kind of the bullseye as we get through the evening hours into Friday morning. Behind that, some extra cloud cover. Like I say, maybe a few sprinkles first thing on Friday morning, but then we start to get into a little bit of clearing, maybe a bit of extra cloud cover hanging around, and then back into a mix of sun and clouds by the time we get into the day on Saturday once again. So there's that bullseye into southeastern Manitoba. The risk tomorrow being wind gusts of up to 100 kilometers an hour, some large hail up to the size of golf balls, and 50 millimeters of rain and some downpours. So just keep that in mind, that anywhere in this sort of yellow shaded area, you could run into some rumbles of thunder as we get through the day on Thursday, particularly overnight into Friday morning. Southerly winds today, a bit windy, but that's helped to diffuse some of that smoke as we've gotten throughout the day today. But once we get back into a more northwesterly flow, we'll look at some hazier conditions as we get into the day on Friday, with temperatures warm as we get into the day tomorrow, 30 in Brandon, 32 in Winnipeg, Brittany, and much more seasonal into the weekend.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Scott, what is MP?
What is Winnipeg? A popular game show put our city's mayor in the spotlight. We'll tell you all about it after the break. A Winnipeg sports broadcaster and his addictions work has caught the attention of a famous Hollywood star.
I think he's an incredible example of Canadian grit and determination in moving through grief in a way that has a positive outcome for other people.
Ryan Reynolds is praising the work Scott Oake and his team are doing to help people who struggle with drug addiction. The day before both men were inducted into the Order of Canada last week, Reynolds made a large donation to the Bruce and Ann Oake Memorial Foundation. Reynolds also posted a video highlighting Oak's commitment to fighting the drug crisis.
So the thought and the care that he put in that video was everything. It meant a lot to us. And it also underlined that he is, as I say, an ally of recovery.
Oakes is in the process of building a recovery centre for women and families. He says so far they've raised $15 of the $25 million needed.
All right, and let's get ourselves back into the dog walking forecast. Teddy from Ingolf, Ontario, I know dealing with some smoke from wildfires on both the Manitoba and Ontario sides of the border. Thanks, Jim, for sending this picture in. Looks very relaxing. You can send your pics to talkback@cbc.ca. So hot and humid tomorrow. Keep that in mind. The pups might need a little bit of water as we get into the evening hours. So there's that thunderstorm risk, 31 degrees by the evening. And then you'll notice a drop in temperatures as that cold front sweeps through into Friday and Saturday, 26 degrees. Risk of some isolated thunderstorms as we get into the day on Saturday. Chance of showers on Sunday, and then we get into a little bit of a sun cloud mix into next week. A popular game show dropped the name of Winnipeg's mayor this week.
3 Jeopardy contestants were left scratching their heads Tuesday night over a clue that mentioned our city.
I'll take that's honorific for 400.
In Canada, his or her worship is for people with this government job, like Scott Gillingham of Winnipeg and Surrey, BC's Brenda Locke.
None of the 3 contestants knew the right answer was mayor. Scott Gillingham says he learned about this a week ago that he'd be on the quiz show, but was sworn to secrecy until the episode aired.
Now, the mayor says he was honored to have his name mentioned on such a beloved show. He says someone from Jeopardy has given him a framed copy of the clue, and it's now hanging on the wall in his home office. Would have been better had they gotten it.
I know.
Right?
I know.
I think one of them said MP. Who knows? Maybe one day. That's all for us tonight. We will see you back here tomorrow. Have a great night.
Stay cool.